I liken it to the story of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
On the surface, Dorian Price seemed to have it all together. He was clean-cut, he had a good job, he even attended church. But Dorian had a dark secret. He had been addicted to cocaine since the age of 16.
I would say in a week, at least $300 to $400. At least. The people closest to me initially did not become aware of it for a long time. But the addiction was starting to affect me to the point where I just wanted to escape it.
Dorian decided to relocate from Detroit to California. The move seemed to help at first, especially when he started dating Brenda.
I met her in church, and it was such a blessing to me to get away from the lifestyle that I had experienced prior to that. It was so refreshing.
They eventually became engaged. Brenda was unaware of Dorian's past cocaine addiction. But when Dorian lost a close loved one to cancer, he turned to drugs for comfort, and then he disappeared.
And I couldn't cope with that at the time. So I used that as an excuse to run back to drugs.
I talked to his family. They hadn't seen him. I hadn't heard from him. But that was the first encounter with finding out about this deep, dark, mysterious lifestyle. It was very scary, and real difficult to understand.
Despite her fears, Brenda believed Dorian could change.
My prayer time was a lot about the Lord bringing Dorian back to safety. Lord, save him if he's not saved. Lord, change him. Lord, do this to him, do that to him. Do it to him.
Dorian eventually came home and Brenda took him back. They married, but Dorian's focus was far from his new wife and home.
Basically, rather than me working on my marriage and bonding with her, I would get on a binge 2 or 3 days, non-stop use, period. And that's when I would take off from work, take off from relationships, disappear.
I went from being the Brenda who was like, I'm going to go out in the streets and find my husband. Oh, I did that. I would go to crack houses. In time, it was less about, Lord, change him, change him, change him, change him. Lord, change me. Change me. Trust me, there were a lot of lonely nights, a lot of scary nights, a lot of weeping nights. But the one thing that kept me going was, you know what, Lord, I'll be a fool for you. I don't care. I mean, really, that's the way I was. I just want to follow whatever you want me to do.
After 5 years of heartbreak, Brenda filed for divorce.
I was broken from the idea of divorce. It affected me to the point where I knew in my heart I needed to make a change.
Dorian cried to God to save him from the addiction, but cocaine still had a strong grip on him. He began to think he'd never kick his 30-year addiction.
But what I didn't know was, with God, overnight, it can happen.
Dorian's deliverance came in a fast and furious manner. One afternoon, Dorian was crossing the street in San Diego when he was struck by a trolley car.
In the trolley station, there was 2 trolleys coming, one in one direction, one another, and I ran right in front of the one that I didn't see. And that trolley hit me and carried me about 20 feet and dropped me on the tracks.
Dorian lay in a coma for 3 days. He underwent extensive therapy, but walked away without permanent injuries. And after his accident, he realized that for the first time in 3 decades, his desire for cocaine was completely gone.
That's when I surrendered to the point where I realized that it was all about God and not about me. Of all the treatment centers and whatnot that I've been through, that wasn't no recovery for me. If it wasn't for his covering, I would still be lost to my addiction. He removed my dependency on cocaine.
Dorian read the Bible and started going to church. There, God answered another one of Dorian's prayers.
God came to me so powerfully and let me know that he loved me. He did have a good plan for me. And the plan was that he wanted me to go back with Dorian. He just assured me, you're not the same, and Dorian's not the same.
After 4 years of divorce, Dorian and Brenda were married again on December 17th, 2007.
She's God's gift to me. Hallelujah. He knew the desire of my heart, and he kept his word. We have a closer relationship amongst each other because of our relationship with the Lord. I was lost. I couldn't do it. But the Lord let him take the lead.
He's real. And if he has a plan and a purpose for your life, it's going to be done. Just trust him, period. Trust God.